Tonight, a health alert with tomorrow's temperatures across SA to soar into the 40s.
Terrifying vision of a northern suburbs armed robbery. Police tonight appealing for help to catch this criminal.
A court told the man accused of attacking a 12-year-old girl on an Adelaide train is a known child sex offender.
The local retailer flying the flag for customer choice amid the Australia Day debate.
And the Adelaide-bound flight halted by a tarmac crunch.
This is Adelaide's 9 News.
Good evening. A health warning tonight ahead of extreme heat now forecast for Adelaide and the rest of our state tomorrow.
Temperatures to rise as high as 47 degrees in some parts of South Australia. Jessica Braithwaite, people are urged to take care.
Yes, the state is set to sizzle, Kate, and that has our health chiefs worried. Now, Adelaide itself is set for a top of 41 degrees tomorrow, and it will be even hotter through the northern suburbs, where we are expecting 42 degrees in Elizabeth. We also are expecting to see thousands flocking to the beaches with those hot temperatures. It will certainly be sweltering in some regional areas too, with forecasts as high as 47 degrees for Oak Valley and 46 for a host of towns, including Ceduna, Udna Data and Woodner. In Adelaide, it's been a couple of months since we've had heat this intense, so health authorities aren't taking any chances, coming out today with a strong warning.
Our human bodies are not made for these sorts of temperatures, and it's really important that we think about the impact of the heat on our bodies and take some simple steps to stay healthy. The heat can particularly impact more vulnerable groups such as small children and older people, and also people with chronic health problems.
Luckily, it is only a short burst of heat. We should see temperatures coming back down by Wednesday and certainly some welcome relief by Thursday.
Thank you, Jessica. Talk to you soon. An axe-wielding thief has been captured on camera, threatening staff before stealing cash from a Bolivar hotel. Police are appealing for help to track down the suspect. His victims fearful he could return.
A nightmare unfolding inside this northern suburbs hotel. A hooded bandit armed with an axe captured on CCTV, unleashing against innocent workers.
Just continued with his violence, continued with his threats. This is horror at first hand.
Hiding behind a white mask, he smashes the glass barrier, pacing back and forth, demanding cash before hitting it again. Glass shatters over at least 2 staff members before they hand over a bag of money.
It's likely to have very devastating and quite profound effects. This isn't something that someone gets over in a matter of nights or even a matter of weeks. It could be months, even years.
It all unfolded in the early hours of November 16 at the White Horse Inn at Bolivar. The suspect is described as about 173 centimetres tall, with an average build, wearing a light-coloured hoodie, gloves and a white mask.
All victims hope that the perpetrator, the offender, will be caught and will be prosecuted and justice will be done.
He was last seen running north on Port Wakefield Road.
Victims, in this case, possibly will live in fear that the person will come back, or other workers may live in the fear, the worry that the perpetrator is going to come back.
Police are still hunting the masked man, releasing the CCTV today in hope it will lead to an arrest. Anyone with information on the robbery or who may know the identity of the suspect is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Kate.
Inga, thank you. The identity of an Aldinga Beach man accused of raping a 12-year-old girl on an Adelaide passenger train can now be revealed. Shannon McDonald was in court. Shannon, he's already a convicted child sex offender.
That's right. 21-year-old Dylan Lloyd faced court today, charged with the rape of a child, the prosecution describing him as a high-risk child sex offender. It's alleged Lloyd was travelling on the Seaford Line train on January 11 when the victim, who isn't known to him, boarded the same train at Christie's Beach. Lloyd allegedly then sat next to her and sexually assaulted her. Prosecutors say they have sufficient evidence, including CCTV from the day, to prove the suspect's guilt. Lloyd applied for home detention bail, his lawyer telling the court he had autism and psychological issues and would be under supervision at a family address which was just 300 metres from a primary school. But the magistrate denied the freedom bid, saying Lloyd posed a risk to children and to women.
Shannon, thank you. The search for a father missing in waters off the state's west coast has come to a tragic end. The body of 43-year-old Dan Kojisia was discovered this morning by his own family, 4 days since he became caught in a rip after saving his children and a friend's daughter. Mr Kojisia's body was found near at Sleaford, about 1.5 kilometres from where he went missing on Friday afternoon.
Surfboards lined the shores of Seaford Beach in memory of a young boy killed in a shark attack last month. Hundreds of family and friends gathering today to farewell Kai Cowley, who is being remembered as a fiercely talented surfer taken far too soon.
A sea of loved ones gathering on the shore of Kai Cowley's home break. To farewell a 15-year-old boy forever chasing the next wave.
It's so cruel that you've been taken from us at such a young age.
It was his parents, Kate and Tim, and little brother Jet, who led the emotional farewell, remembering a young surfer so full of passion and pride.
Most of the time it was beyond my ability, leaving me no choice but to sit on the beach and watch my beautiful boy do what he loved.
That love shared by Kai's younger brother.
Kai absolutely loved you, mate. Whether it was play fighting with you, jumping on the trampoline, helping you get waves, I know you meant the world to him.
But it was Kai's grandfather who inspired his love of the ocean.
There's nothing I could possibly say that could express how much I love Kai and how much I'm going to miss him.
It was just last month when Kai was out doing what he loved, surfing at York Peninsula's Ethel Beach, when he was tragically attacked by a shark and killed. His loss leaving a huge hole in the lives of those he loved as they lined the streets of Seaford.
Be my best mate forever and ever. I love you like a brother. Rest in peace, fly high.
This Saturday, a paddle out will take place here at the same beach in memory of Kai and his love for the ocean.
We don't know where we go when we die, but I pray that one day I'll get to see you again.
Kelly Hughes at 9 News.
A man has escaped a burning home at Holden Hill as a fierce blaze quickly spread from a nearby shed. It took firefighters almost an hour to stop the flames, managing to save neighbouring properties.
A family home decimated by fire.
That was a really huge fire from the roof side.
Very big, I could feel it, I could feel the hotness.
The flames taking hold of the Parade Road property at 2 this morning. The sole occupant inside at the time managed to escape, the 37-year-old watching on in horror.
Oh my God.
He was treated for smoke inhalation at the scene, later taken to the Modbury Hospital. Crews fighting desperately to save neighbouring homes, including Ritesh Patel's.
Police knocked my door and I just opened the door and they said, you have a fire on your backside, so I didn't realise first.
Obviously the most important thing is, everyone getting out okay and everyone's safe.
The blaze sending thick smoke and embers into the air.
We could see the fire from our backyard. It was so big and tall.
Crews fought the inferno from outside and eventually from within.
You can see maybe from roof to a 3 or 4 foot high. That all the flames.
It took firefighters 40 minutes to extinguish the blaze. Investigators were on scene today and believe the fire started in a backyard shed before spreading through the rest of the house. Family sifting through what is left of the charred remains this morning. The damage bill is estimated to be $400,000. Dylan Smith, 9 News.
Low and middle income earners will be given a cash boost from July 1 after the Albanese government today announced a significant shake-up of our tax system. But high income earners will be disappointed. They will still receive a cut, but it won't be as high as they were previously promised.
G'day. The Prime Minister last week touring high vias with tradies of the future.
Good paid, secure.
That good pay is about to get better. These are the Stage 3 tax rates due to start in July. 9 News understands the plan to be put before Cabinet would lower the top tax bracket to $180,000, saving $3.6 billion per year, with the money saved to be redistributed to lower income earners, possibly through an increase to the tax-free threshold.
If we can find ways to put extra dollars in people's pockets, particularly those low and middle income earners who are doing it tough, then we're prepared to do so.
If passed by Cabinet tomorrow, it would be unveiled to Labor MPs in a special cost of living caucus on Wednesday, before the Prime Minister addresses the National Press Club on Thursday.
I think it'll be a really good speech, but I don't want to steal his thunder.
The change would mean people earning over $200,000 a year would receive a $6,075 tax cut instead of $9,075. Someone on $90,000, currently looking at $1,125, would instead get closer to $1,400. Ultimately, all taxpayers will get a cut.
I think the fact that we brought this caucus meeting on this week demonstrates that for the government as well, it's the number one issue that we're going to be dealing with this year.
The plan won't change the budget bottom line, but should decrease any pressure on inflation.
The original Stage 3 tax cuts have been to 2 elections. These changes would only need to pass the Parliament. Labor would be relying on the promise of more money for more people over vows to keep the cuts as they stood.
Energy bills will also be a focus, with 2 new deals struck to secure more gas.
If you had a supply crunch, if you had a shortage, then it's obviously going to put pressure on the system and on prices.
Charles Croucher, 9 News.
Let's go live to political editor Charles Croucher. Charles, is this a broken promise?
Look, it's a question that voters may ultimately decide at the next election. At best, the language has been tricky. These are still tax cuts and the total value is the same, but tonight Stage 3 has a Labor lens and Jim Chalmers will get to advocate publicly what he's been saying privately for months. Labor is now daring Peter Dutton to side with the highest earners and stand in the way of every taxpayer receiving more money in every pay packet. Broken promise or not, it is a chance for the government to set the agenda after months of playing defence politically and playing word games over Stage 3. It seems finally it's back on Labor's terms.
Thank you, Charles. Concerns tonight about retail workers copping backlash over the decision by 2 major supermarket chains, Woolies and Aldi, to boycott Australia Day. Merchandise and local chain Drake's has taken a different take on the issue, opting to let South Australians decide for themselves.
There'll be no white flags from John Paul Drake as a contentious national debate hits the aisles and he defends the right of shoppers to make their own decisions.
We're about letting our customers choose what they want to buy, and it's all about choice. And in this case, I know, I've been on the shop floor, that our customers want Australia Day merch.
His move at odds with major rivals Aldi and Woolworths, who've opted out of selling Australia Day merchandise amid growing calls to scrap January 26 celebrations out of respect to our First Nations people. But Drake's is letting shoppers at its more than 60 supermarkets make up their own mind. The chain's boss even taking a good-natured jab at Woolies for being woke.
We're probably going to sell out of all Australia Day merchandise.
But there are concerns tonight others have overreacted to a decision Woolies says was about demand, not the debate. The Woolies at Christie's Beach last week vandalised with the alarming words, "Australia Day forever, joyriders will be shot." The Retail Workers Union is calling for calm as it reveals members across the sector are being brought right into the middle of the debate.
That's the crazy thing. The crazy thing isn't decisions to sell items. The crazy thing is abusing retail workers over an issue that they can't control.
Will DeFulvio, 9 News.
And Cricket Australia has waded into the Australia Day debate, deciding not to use the phrase during the next test in Brisbane. The public holidays fall on day 2 of the match. Politicians around the country criticising the decision.
For many years, we watched our national sport on our national day.
Come on, Aussie, come on. The fans were busy celebrating Australia Day.
But times have changed.
I don't think it's up to sporting codes to set the moral compass of this country.
This January 26, Australia will meet the West Indies on day 2 of the Gabba Test, but the phrase Australia Day will not be uttered.
Do you support Cricket Australia's decision to ditch the Australia Day terminology?
Look out.
Do you support that decision?
Silence from our cricketers, a statement from Cricket Australia. January 26 is a difficult day for many people, especially many Indigenous Australians. So there's a balance in that we're playing cricket, but also want to acknowledge that the day means different things to different people.
I think they should revisit it. I hope they do. And I know I'll be celebrating Australia Day.
At the Australian Open, they will play the national anthem before the men's semi-final on Friday, while the A-League has renamed January 26 altogether. For the last decade, its annual match between Melbourne Victory and Sydney FC has been called the Unite Multicultural Match. As Woolworths discovered last week, any decision made around Australia Day is bound to attract controversy. The government insists there are no plans to change our National Day, leaving the PM to plead for an end to the annual debate.
We need to stop looking for areas in which we can be outraged. We need to come together. Look, people will go to the cricket.
Jane Azzopardi, 9 News.
There was turbulence on the tarmac at the Sydney airport this morning. A worker's ute smashing into the engine of a Jetstar flight bound for Adelaide. The unusual crash causing delays across the terminal and raking up a damage bill estimated to be more than $500,000.
There's bad days at work, and then there's this. An airport security ute wedged underneath the engine of a Jetstar Airbus A320. The driver crashing into the plane on the tarmac around 5:30 this morning as it was being towed to its gate. He was taken to a Sydney hospital with minor injuries.
Sadly, these incidents become serious accidents and fatal accidents. Quite a number of people have lost their lives on the tarmac.
Luckily, there were no passengers on the aircraft. Both the ute and the plane were eventually towed away, facing significant repairs.
On average, cost approximately $500,000 every time we have an accident on a tarmac.
Jetstar flight JQ760 was due to depart to Adelaide at 6:40 this morning. That service was obviously cancelled, with passengers forced to wait hours to be put on to later flights. They eventually arrived at their destination, oblivious to the extent of the incident.
They didn't give us all the details, they just said there was an accident.
A ute crashed into that plane. What do you think about that?
I'm glad I wasn't on it.
You'd rather get here safely than not get here at all.
In total, 6 Jetstar flights to and from Sydney were scrapped due to the crash.
I was really lucky because I got onto the next flight to Adelaide, but I know some other people were not as lucky and they had to wait 6 hours at Sydney Airport. Contractor Certus Security was unable to say how its driver made such a big blunder. James Wilson, 9 News.
Australian cricketer Usman Khawaja will auction off his controversial All Lives Are Equal shoes. The International Cricket Council last month banned Khawaja from wearing the shoes, which referenced the Israel-Hamas war, saying they were a political statement. All proceeds will go to the UNICEF Children of Gaza appeal.
Tom Rehn joins us with a sneak ahead look to the sport coming up later. A massive day at the Australian Open, Rehn.
Yeah, exactly right, Brenton. Some top seeds have done some real damage, which was good to see. Hi everyone, more on the tennis coming up, but also ahead. By Port star Zach Butters is bullish about the rise of teammate Jason Horne-Francis. And a milestone moment for Crow Harry Schonberg post-surgery.
Thanks, Tom. We'll see you soon. Handed a lifeline, but now a Western Suburbs hospital is running out of money. Next, why its Adelaide patients could be forced to go elsewhere. And a slippery surprise in Bridgewater. See more of this snake's sneaky entrance.
The future of the privately owned Western Hospital at Henley Beach is tonight under a cloud, with the state government revealing it's been forced to step in and pay $1 million of its rent. The Treasurer says if taxpayers didn't stump up, the health facility would have closed.
From cancer treatment to general practice, intensive care to radiology, these are the vast services on offer inside Western Hospital.
I have needed an appointment at Benson Radiology Department. I'm from Keith. I've come up to Adelaide to have a specialist appointment this morning.
Is it a busy hospital? Yeah, and it's a much loved hospital too. It's not long ago it had a massive big refurbishment with its theatres.
9 News understands thanks to those renovations, the business has struggled financially. The government today revealing it's given the hospital a $1 million loan to pay its rent.
We were concerned that unless we took this sort of drastic action, that the doors would close on this important healthcare facility.
The operator now trying to offload the Henley Beach Hospital, prompting questions around the government stepping in.
No other business has their rent paid by the government. I mean, this institution don't share their profits with the government.
Yeah, I think it's good that they prop it up because it would have a huge impact effect on people.
The hospital's deadline to pay back the loan has been pushed back to the end of this month, but it's possible not all the money will be reimbursed. The Treasurer says he's not aware of any other occasions taxpayers have loaned money to this hospital, adding the government's not in the business to prop up failing companies.
We support them onto a firmer financial footing.
The hospital's CEO and owner, Australian Unity, declining to answer our questions.
It's really important that we try to do whatever we can to keep it going.
Ollie Haig, 9 News.
Branded one of the country's most corrupt cops, convicted murderer Roger Rogerson has died. His meteoric rise during the 70s and 80s came during the height of police corruption in New South Wales. The disgraced detective's death marking the end of an era.
Roger Rogerson, crooked cop, the Dodger, disgraced former New South Wales detective. But when the end came, there was no name. In a brief statement, Corrective Services announced an 83-year-old inmate has died at Prince of Wales Hospital on Sunday, 21 January 2024. Rogerson, unlikely to be missed, but never forgotten.
There are people who believe that I'm the most corrupt, wicked, diabolical person in the world. I can never change their mind.
And he was right. Former police officer and author Duncan McNabb.
I haven't seen a copper of his calibre, for all the wrong reasons, anywhere.
In the early years of Rogerson's career, he was a pin-up. Decorated for locking up crooks, he had high expectations.
This bloke could be the head of the CIB someday, or maybe even commissioner.
But his fearsome reputation brought him undone. Rogerson shooting dead 3 people in the line of duty. Notorious criminals became partners in crime. Nettie Smith and Graham Henry. The latter today telling 9 News, Rogerson was charismatic and charming, but he didn't have much of a conscience. He helped me and then he on me. In 2014, CCTV captured the murder of drug dealer Jamie Gow.
Did you kill Jamie Gow?
Solicitor, I'm saying nothing.
A life sentence became a death sentence. The 83-year-old suffered a brain aneurysm last week and passed away last night. Condolences have been few and far between. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
New details tonight on the underworld investigation into who robbed the crypt of Michelle Morogi, sister of drug kingpin and killer George Morogi. Men in gas masks tried to drag her casket out of the mausoleum when a lift malfunctioned, instead taking the diamond ring she was wearing and dumping the body. Police now believe the offenders escaped in a Mini Cooper.
They've gone there with a Mini Minor. Well, how does that then support the fact of taking the body away?
6 months on from the incident, police continue to appeal to the conscience of criminal gangs for answers.
A Bridgewater man's been surprised by a speeding snake. This vision shows the moment a deadly eastern brown snake came sliding towards him, gathering momentum as it slid down the steep driveway. It landed right in the man's lap as he was working outside. Luckily, he wasn't bitten, calling in a local snake catcher, but the unwelcome visitor managed to slip away before he arrived.
A royal health scare, but this time for Sarah Ferguson. We'll bring you her latest update. And the race to the White House ramps up. We'll tell you who's in and now who's out. That's coming up.
9 News, brought to you by Australia's #1 selling vehicle, Ford Ranger.
To a developing story now from southwest China, where at least 47 people have been buried after a massive landslide. The state broadcaster says the missing were trapped within 18 homes. More than 200 rescue workers have been deployed to search the rubble.
There are only 2 people still standing tonight in the race for the Republican presidential nomination in the United States. One-time favourite Ron DeSantis dropping out. The decision coming just hours before a crucial primary which could cement Donald Trump's selection.
The Republican race for the presidency is down to 2.
If we don't have a clear path to victory, accordingly, I am today suspending my campaign.
Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis bailing out 2 days before the New Hampshire primary.
Nobody worked harder, and we left it all out on the field.
The only player on the field left to tackle Donald Trump is former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley.
May the best woman win.
Ron DeSantis had fallen victim to the Trump show.
I haven't even mentioned the name of Ron DeSanctimonious yet. We hit him hard. By the time he joined the campaign, he was pretty much decapitated.
Today, campaigning in New Hampshire, the former president offered this.
Will I be using the name Ron DeSanctimonious? I said, that name is officially retired.
While his now former rival gave him his support.
Trump is superior to the current incumbent, Joe Biden. That is clear.
The Florida governor was touted as a serious challenger, but his run started with a launch meltdown.
We've got so many people here that I think we are kind of melting the servers.
His campaign was criticised as clumsy and awkward. There were leaks. It was doomed from the start. Staff were doing puzzles instead of fundraising. And then came mockery.
I want to present to you this participation trophy.
A second placing in Iowa, not enough to keep his campaign going. So now it's down to Donald Trump and Nikki Haley. For the former president, a comfortable win here in New Hampshire would have the Republican race on a road to a coronation rather than a contest.
And they have not shown us 1 ounce of vision for the future. Nothing.
It might only be January, but a presidential rematch could be a step closer.
Send them a signal that we are coming this November.
In New Hampshire, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
More than 25,000 people have now been killed in Gaza during Israel's offensive, according to the Hamas-run Health Ministry. It follows Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu again rejecting the idea of creating a Palestinian state.
A Russian private jet carrying 6 people has crashed in a remote part of Afghanistan. The Taliban says the pilot and some of the passengers survived and has deployed a rescue team to the mountainous area.
The Royals have been dealt another health-related blow. Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson, diagnosed with a dangerous skin cancer. The melanoma was found while Prince Andrew's ex-wife was undergoing breast cancer treatment.
Sarah Ferguson on Christmas Day. A rare inclusion in the royal family's Christmas celebrations at Sandringham. In good spirits, joking with well wishes.
Yeah.
But now, another health scare for the Duchess of York, diagnosed with malignant melanoma after having several moles removed.
More tests are being carried out just to see if the cancer has spread.
It's been a challenging time for Fergie, who still lives with former husband Prince Andrew. Just 6 months ago, the 64-year-old was tested for breast cancer and underwent a mastectomy as well as reconstructive surgery, something she opened up on in December.
I'm really proud of it. I feel that my mastectomy is like a badge of office.
That's when she had moles removed and tested. She joins the Princess of Wales and the King, dealing with significant health matters. Kate is at a London hospital recovering from abdominal surgery and isn't expected to take part in official engagements until April. And King Charles will this week have a procedure for an enlarged prostate.
They've made it very clear that in the King's case, and indeed the case of the Princess of Wales, that none of those cases are cancerous, which is obviously good news.
In London, Edward Godfrey, 9 News.
Queen Mary and King Frederick have attended a celebratory church service to mark the change of reign. The ceremony coming a week after Frederick was proclaimed king. His 83-year-old mother announced her shock abdication in her New Year's address. The event in Denmark's second largest city, Aarhus, was their first outside the capital, Copenhagen.
Well, your back-to-school costs about to jump in price. Why it's all down to shipping delays that are happening right now. That story's next. Plus, the wheelchair tennis champ now on a mission to become a ball kid.
Retailers are warning back-to-school shopping supplies are running low as the DP World pay dispute drags on. The Australian Retail Association is urging the country's second-largest port operator and union members to reach a deal, with consumers paying the price.
Some of our biggest back-to-school stationeers are saying up to 50% of their catalogue promoted merchandise that they're out of stock in the last important week heading back into back-to-school. This is obviously a great concern for us.
DP World claims 54,000 shipping containers are in limbo, causing an $84 million hit to the economy each week.
A baby emu has been rescued from a muddy pit at a mine in Queensland, thanks to quick-thinking workers who spotted the stranded and distressed chick. It was found on Saturday evening. The trio quickly stopping to rescue the baby bird. It took a few attempts to get the bird out, but eventually it was freed and able to return to its family.
For a select group of lucky young Australians, becoming a ball kid is one of the most exciting parts of the Australian Open. 11-year-old Sonny Rennison is aiming to be the first to do it in a wheelchair thanks to a clever new device.
Heading out to take his spot on court is Sonny Rennison. He's already one of the world's best junior wheelchair players. Now he can be a ball kid too, thanks to a new device.
So push, push, push. I go in, pick it up easy as that, and then another one. And then to get the balls out, I literally just slide my fingers through these holes and I can get it out just like that, easy.
The rising star helped MasterCard design it, even suggesting changes.
Sonny's been awesome. He's been fantastic to work with. He's a real leader and I'm sure he'll go a long way in the future.
The 11-year-old was put to the test today in a one-set exhibition match in front of Aussie greats Alicia Molik and Heath Davidson.
We've got professional athletes in wheelchairs playing at Grand Slams, and I'm like, why can't we have one in a wheelchair being a ball kid?
The ball kids are probably one of the most important cogs in a tournament, in an event, and as players we rely on them so much, and particularly when they have great skills but great tennis knowledge. Sonny has all of that.
Sonny's ticked off a big milestone today. Now the plan is to do it in a real match and then one day even a Grand Slam. He was actually offered the chance to debut at the Kooyong Classic, but it clashed with his playing schedule. The tournament's director has told 9 News they'll give him the same opportunity next year. Make no mistake, Sonny Rennison is one to watch.
Hopefully I'll be able to ball kid on one of the bigger courts, but I'm going to start off small, just work my way up there.
Nathan Curry, 9 News.
And he will absolutely do it.
Sure will.
Absolutely.
Well done.
Well, more in sport next. Rennie, it was a good fight by Alex de Minaur at the Open last night.
He gave it a real crack, didn't he, Kate? But unfortunately, the dream of an Oz Open title will have to wait one more year. We'll have all the highlights from Melbourne Park shortly, where there have been plenty of cheers, but also tears as Alina Svitolina is forced to retire. Plus, Will Pucovski hit in the helmet again, but what does it mean for the 25-year-old? Hello again. The superstars of men's tennis are showing their class with Daniil Medvedev's fourth-round victory, ensuring the top 5 seeds all remain in the hunt for the men's title. A pair of Ukrainians were in the thick of the action on the women's side, but the outcomes were bittersweet.
Grand Slam history for Portugal, with Nuno Borges the first player to reach the Australian Open Final 16. But making the quarters would be a giant ask.
Beautiful winner from Medvedev.
World number 3 Daniil Medvedev proved the stronger hand in the opening 2 sets before a surprising hiccup.
2 set points.
An
ace to close it out.
He quickly steadied the ship, booking a date with Hubert Hurkacz. Despair for Ukrainian star Alina Svitolina.
But you can see there the little bend forward. And
the 19th seed forced to retire just 3 games into her 4th round encounter with Linda Noskova, leaving the court in tears.
An absolute heartbreaker for
Svitolina's countrywoman Diana Yastremska had her own scare, but against 2-time champ Victoria Azarenka never stopped fighting.
Oh, what an unbelievable...
The 23-year-old qualifier secured the first set before storming back from 3-love down in the second to reach a career-first quarter-final.
My heart, I feel it's like gonna jump out of my body.
Last night, the entire nation was willing Alex de Minaur over the line.
He got it.
Oh, yeah.
Around the net.
He was on the brink of the final 8 after taking a 2-1 lead, but Russian Andrei Rublev had other ideas. His pure power hitting destroyed de Minaur 6-love in the deciding set. The Aussie devastated.
Not a match that I thought I lost physically. It was just that the racket was taken out of my hand.
The result dropping him back outside the world's top 10. Braden Ingram, 9 News.
Cricketer Will Pucovski has been cleared to play on, despite copping another nasty head knock while batting for Victoria. The 25-year-old was struck in the helmet during the second 11 match against South Australia, retiring and over later after experiencing dizziness. But Pucovski was soon back in the nets, having passed his concussion test, with Victoria giving him the green light to return to the crease. Meanwhile, having avoided delayed concussion symptoms, Usman Khawaja has been ticked off by Cricket Australia to play in the Gabba Test match, which starts on Thursday. Well, the Strikers have lost the bat flip in their Challenger final against Brisbane, with the Heat electing to bat first. Adelaide bringing an unchanged lineup into the clash, with skipper Matt Short hoping to continue his red-hot form.
I think then the challenge was to kind of, keep that consistency. And, over the last couple of years, I've probably burnt out a little bit towards the end of the tournament and haven't finished as strongly. So, I think this year was a lot more consistent in terms of, scoring.
A victory tonight cements the Strikers' spot in the final against the Sydney Sixers, being played on Wednesday night. Well, at Westlakes, Harry Schonberg has celebrated a major milestone after tearing his Achilles last August. The Crows midfielder completed his first run post-surgery in front of teammates and coaches. Yeah, nice to see. Positive signs too for Ruckman Riley O'Brien, who made his return to the main group today after his appendix surgery. The Crows will host a pre-season training camp in Robe from tomorrow afternoon. Well, not content with his stunning breakout season, power star Zach Butters says he's determined to take another big step this year. And while he's put big expectations on himself, he's extremely bullish about the rise of teammate Jason Horne-Francis.
A different kind of showdown for Jordan Dawson and Zach Butters, and one certainly a lot less hostile, at the Blitz Golf Tournament. Teeing off with teammates and cricket star Glenn Maxwell for a shot at $35,000.
You're a social sort of thing to get out and just relax and probably not think about footy too much.
But Butters is the first to admit it's easier said than done. The 23-year-old set a new benchmark with a career-best season in 2023. But he's determined to go even better this year.
For me, my midfield craft, my midfield stoppage, it's something I'm really going to work on, and then also just improving my strengths as well.
While Butters and new skipper Connor Rosie will no doubt cause the opposition headaches, Butters has heaped praise on third-year star Jason Horne-Francis.
I'm a big Jason fan. I love his work. I love his competitiveness. He cracks in hard. Me and Connor will be stepping aside soon, and it'll be the Jason show.
Horne-Francis had surgery on both legs not long after arriving in Alberton and missed a large chunk of pre-season. This time around, he hasn't missed a beat.
He's still only 20, and yeah, he probably gets bunched in with me and Connor a bit, but yeah, we're a few years older than him, and I think his potential is probably untapped still.
Now the club's focus is on rebounding, following last year's straight sets exit.
Yeah, we had our time again to probably do a few things differently, and I think it's something that we've been big on in the pre-season, really holding each other accountable.
And Port Adelaide have pinpointed what went wrong as they look to continue their premiership push under coach Ken Hinkley.
The defence ramps up a lot, and I feel like probably as a team we probably didn't meet the level required in finals footy. I think there's still plenty to chase from a team perspective, and I think that keeps me really energised and motivated.
Emma Henderson, 9 News.
All right, let's get to some breaking news now. And 9 News understands Adelaide United defender Alexander Popovich is set to leave the Reds to join a club in South Korea. The 21-year-old has been a key part of United's side this season. The club still working on strengthening its squad in the January transfer window. We'll stick with the World Game. Mitch Duke has been ruled out of tomorrow night's Asian Cup clash against Uzbekistan due to a hamstring strain, with coach Graham Arnold yet to decide on his replacement. Meantime, Liverpool has skipped 5 points clear at the top of the EPL table following a 4-0 belting of Bournemouth.
Gomez, and it's in for 4. Darwin Núñez had the double as well.
Yeah, great finish. Meantime, a stoppage time penalty has allowed cellar dwellers Sheffield United to pinch a point in a 2-2 draw with West Ham. And Kansas City's Super Bowl defence remains alive, with Travis Kelce guiding the Chiefs into the Final Four of the NFL playoffs over arch rivals Buffalo. Kelce's star girlfriend Taylor Swift and older brother Jason were in the thick of the celebrations, leaving Bills fans with an all-too-familiar heartbreak after their side missed a field goal to level things up.
44 yards, Bass. No, he doesn't make it. Wide right. Wow. The two most dreaded words in Buffalo.
In Detroit, the fairy tale continues as the Lions won back-to-back playoff games for the first time in 67 years, defeating Tampa Bay 31-27. to 23. They really are the glamour couple, aren't they, Travis Kelce?
I was there for the shirtless celebrations. That was gold. That was great.
It was impressive.
Thanks so much, Freddie. Well, a day of extreme heat tomorrow. Jessica has the latest warnings and advice right after the break. First, though, look at tomorrow's speed cameras.
Wake up and laugh with Adelaide's #1 breakfast show.
Rudits and Loz tomorrow on 104.7 Triple M.
For the latest Adelaide news and traffic.
Record highs are being smashed on markets around the world, but analysts say prices might have gone too far, particularly for Commonwealth Bank shares. Here's finance editor Chris Kohler.
Investors all over the world are pretty sure central banks will start cutting interest rates this year, so they're jumping into shares and pushing prices higher. Wall Street's S&P 500 hit a record high on Friday night, with Microsoft, Nvidia and Meta all at their highest levels ever. Global markets, including Australia's, tend to follow the US, so the ASX is also within reach of all-time highs. Today, it gained another 0.75%. Speaking of record highs, Commonwealth Bank is above $114 for the first time. But it's interesting to see that almost all major analysts recommend selling shares in the bank. They say it's become too expensive. And the Australian dollar topped 66 US cents for the first time in a week before cooling off. It's also buying 60 euro cents.
Thank you, Chris. Well, a very hot day tomorrow with the latest. Here's Jessica.
It sure will be, Brenton. They're making today look quite pleasant by comparison. It has been a warm start to the week, but we settled in more so around the 31-degree mark today. It's around 30 degrees in the city at the moment, so certainly we've got a long way to go with those temperatures rising a lot further tomorrow. For today, though, around the suburbs, we did stay in the 30s. We saw temperatures lifting well into the 30s through the northern suburbs. So at Elizabeth, we were at 34 degrees, 33 at Mawson Lakes, but 26 at Mount Lofty. The heat is already on the go up north with 45 at Oodnadatta, 44 at Coober Pedy today and 41 at Roxby Downs, while at least for some of our south we have been spared the extreme heat so far, 26 degrees at Kingscote and 25 at Mount Gambier. So much happening on the charts. We have a trough pumping the heat into SA. We've got Tropical Cyclone Kirrily up north headed for Queensland, and it's expected to make landfall as a Category 3 system. We're also watching for flooding through parts of the NT still, so there's a lot going on, and another rainy, stormy day on the way for Darwin tomorrow. So let's have a look at this heat across SA, and it is a punishing 47 degrees for Oak Valley tomorrow, 46 for Ceduna, Woodner, Oodnadatta and Tarcoola. Port Augusta and Port Pirie are expecting 45. Other places to swelter include Roseworthy with 43, Murray Bridge with 42 and Maitland with 41 degrees. On metro waters, east to northeasterlies 10 to 15 knots, tending north to northwesterly in the middle of the day. Now here's the heat for our Adelaide suburbs. It will be hottest through the northern suburbs. So we have 42 degrees in store for Elizabeth, 41 at Marion and 40 at Golden Grove. In the city, we're going for that top of 41 degrees with an overnight low tonight probably of around 21 degrees. Now the good news is it is a pretty short blast of heat. So by Wednesday, we're back down to 31 degrees and then we get some real relief kicking in on Thursday, 25 degrees in store with hopefully a few refreshing showers on Thursday as well. And then we're doing it easy Friday, Saturday, sitting really comfortably in the mid-20s before things do start to warm back up again from Sunday. So yeah, one very hot day to get through before we start to see some of that welcome relief arriving.
Yeah, very short-lived. Jessica, thanks so much. And thank you for your company. That's 9 News for this Monday.
Stay watching now for the tennis, and you'll find developing stories on our website. Have a great evening.
Good night.